We all have stories of falling. Life is not about avoiding the fall. It is about learning how to get back up. Sometimes the fall is just a stumble. We trip over our own feet. Other times, the fall is a push from something we never saw coming. This is trauma. It is a deep wound that changes us. It leaves scars. But these scars do not have to define us in a negative way. They can actually become maps that guide us back to ourselves, showing us where we have been and how far we have come. The journey of transforming this pain into power is honestly the bravest work we can do. It is the path to true inner strength. The first step is always the hardest. It requires us to be honest. We have to look at our pain without turning away. We have to own our story, all of it. The good parts, the bad parts, and the parts that make us feel ashamed. Denying our struggle only gives it more power over us. When we pretend we are okay, we build a wall around our hearts. This wall may keep out more pain, but it also keeps out joy, connection, and love. True courage is found in the willingness to sit with our discomfort, to rumble with our emotions and our experiences. It's messy, but it's real. Think of it like this: your story is yours alone. No one else can write it, and no one else can take it from you. When we share our stories of struggle, we find we are not alone. Our vulnerability becomes a bridge, not a barrier. It connects us to others who have also fallen. This connection is a powerful force for healing. It reminds us that being human is about being imperfect and messy. It gives us permission to be a work in progress. We don't have to have it all figured out. We just have to be willing to be seen exactly as we are, right now, unapologetically, perfectly imperfect. So, we start by owning our narrative. We face the difficult truths. We tell ourselves, this happened, this is my story, and I get to decide how it ends. This simple act of ownership is a revolution. It is the moment we stop being a victim of our circumstances and start becoming the author of our victorious future. It is not about forgetting the trauma. It is about integrating it into who we are. We learn that our deepest wounds can become the source of our greatest wisdom and compassion. The journey begins with this brave first step, owning our story, all of it. Once we own our story, we must face what it has taught us. Often trauma teaches us fear. It whispers lies into our ears. It says, you are not safe. You are not worthy. You are weak. These fears can feel like giant walls, impossible to climb. We might see them as our greatest weaknesses, the parts of us we want to hide from the world. But what if we looked at them differently? What if these perceived weaknesses were actually invitations? Invitations to become stronger and more resilient than we ever imagined possible. The things we fear most often hold the key to our growth. Consider the fear of being vulnerable. Trauma can make us believe that opening up is dangerous. So we build armor. We hide our true selves. But this armor is heavy. It isolates us. The real strength is not in the armor, but in the courage to take it off. It is in the moment we decide to let someone see our imperfections. This act of vulnerability is not weakness. It is the birthplace of trust and connection. By walking straight into our fear of being seen, we discover the strength that comes from authentic relationships. Our weakness becomes a gateway to deep, meaningful belonging. The same is true for the fear of failure. After a significant fall, the thought of trying again can be terrifying. The voice of shame tells us, don't even try, you'll just get hurt again. But resilience is built by getting back up, not by never falling. Every time we choose to try again, despite our fear, we are rewriting our story. We are proving to ourselves that we are capable of surviving setbacks. What we once saw as the weakness of our past failure becomes the foundation of our future courage. We learn that we are strong enough to handle whatever comes our way, because we have faced the worst and are still standing. This process is about reckoning with our emotions. We must get curious about what we are feeling and why. We have to walk into the heart of our story and face the emotions that live there. It is not about fighting our fear or pretending it doesn't exist. It is about acknowledging it, respecting the lesson it is trying to teach us, and then choosing to act from a place of courage instead. This is how we transform our deepest fears. We walk toward them, not away from them, and in doing so, we turn our perceived weaknesses into our most profound strengths. When we walk through our fears, we often unleash a storm of difficult emotions. Anger, sadness, and grief can feel overwhelming. The key is not to suppress these feelings, but to channel them in healthy ways. This is the revolution. It is the active process of rising. For some, this looks like quiet meditation, sitting with the breath and allowing thoughts to come and go without judgment. For others, it is prayer, a conversation with a higher power that offers comfort and guidance. These practices create a space between our feelings and our reactions, giving us the power to choose how we respond. A powerful tool to use is physical therapy. For example, it's not just about healing the body, it is about reclaiming it. It is a deliberate act of showing up for yourself, of rebuilding strength step by step. Spending time in nature offers another path of healing. Imagine hiking to a hidden mountain waterfall. The air is cool and smells of damp earth and pine. Sunlight filters through the canopy of leaves above. You hear the steady rush of water growing louder until you see it, a cascade of white tumbling over ancient rocks into a clear, cold pool. Hikers stop to fill their bottles with the pure spring water, a simple act of renewal. Cooking a new recipe can be its own form of therapy. It requires focus and presence. Following the steps, measuring the ingredients, and creating something nourishing with your own hands is a grounding experience. It is a way to channel anxious energy into a creative and productive act. The act of feeding yourself or others is an act of care. These are all healthy ways to engage with our anger and pain. They allow us to process our emotions without causing harm to ourselves or others. They are constructive, not destructive. They are the tools we use to rise. Think of a sunset on a quiet beach. The sky is painted in shades of orange, pink, and purple. The waves gently lap at the shore, a calming rhythmic sound. People are scattered along the sand, some walking hand in hand, others sitting alone, simply watching the day end. There is a shared sense of peace and awe. In this moment, there is no need for words. Nature is doing the healing work. This is what it means to find healthy outlets. It is about finding your beach, your waterfall, your kitchen. It is about finding the practice that allows you to rise from your fall, strong and whole. The final and most important part of this journey is integration. This is where we weave the lessons of our fall into the fabric of who we are becoming. This transformation does not happen by accident. It begins with radical self-kindness and unflinching honesty. We must learn to speak to ourselves with the same compassion we would offer to a dear friend who is hurting. True kindness for others is born from this inner well of self-kindness. We cannot give away something we do not possess. Being gentle with ourselves is not an indulgence. It is a necessity for healing and growth. This self-kindness must be paired with accountability. We have to be willing to look in the mirror and become aware of what needs to change within us. This requires courage. It is much easier to blame others or our circumstances for our pain. But real power lies in taking responsibility for our own actions, thoughts, and emotions. Accountability means saying, yes, this happened to me, but I am responsible for how I move forward. I am responsible for my healing. This is not about blaming ourselves for the trauma. It is about empowering ourselves to create a different future. When we are kind and accountable to ourselves, we begin to show up differently in the world. We become more compassionate, more empathetic, and more grounded. We understand that everyone we meet is fighting a hard battle just as we are. Our own story of struggle becomes a source of connection, allowing us to see the humanity in others more clearly. We stop judging so quickly. We start listening more deeply. Our personal transformation has a ripple effect, touching everyone around us. The kindness we cultivate for ourselves naturally extends outward. So, the call to action is simple, but not easy. Take the first step. Start today by becoming aware of your own inner world. What story are you telling yourself? What fears are holding you back? What actions are you responsible for? Begin with one small act of self-kindness. Take one moment to hold yourself accountable without shame. This is how we write a braver ending to our stories. It is not about erasing the past, but about rising from it, stronger and more whole. Your journey to inner strength begins now, with one brave, honest, and kind step forward. Comment the word food for more content like this.